The world's most renowned royal family and hashtag 39 were there to celebrate the birth of Princess Beatrice of York on August 8, 1988. The fact that she had so many issues would be shocking to someone born into such a position of tremendous privilege. You and hashtag 39 will leave this film with a clearer picture of how money can eliminate all of your issues. Because she was Prince Andrew's Duke of York's firstborn daughter and Sarah Ferguson's Duchess of York's firstborn granddaughter, she is now the sixth most treasured grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. At the time of her birth, everyone assumed that she would be born with more silver spoons than any other child in history. Everyone thought this was the case. They were compelled to retract their earlier comments because of the exceptional circumstances surrounding the case of Princess Beatrice and hashtag 39. At the tender age of 7, she witnessed firsthand how, no matter your place of birth, life can throw you curveballs. Her lively life began at this point. But when her mother's indiscretions and hashtag 39's ineptitude became public knowledge, everything fell apart for Beatrice and hashtag 39 as her parents went through the public divorce. Two of the ways they tried to support their family were by co-parenting and keeping their relationship strong. Nevertheless, healing a child's shattered heart and hashtag 39's damaged heart are not simple tasks. She and her younger sister, Princess Eugenie, grew up to be lovely, respectable women because their families were very supportive of them. However, they sensed that other, more fundamental things were happening. Is it true that these things made their life harder or easier? You won't believe your eyes when they watch the most shocking secrets of the royal family that we're going to reveal till the very end of the video. We keep calling Beatrice's life difficult because she couldn't lead a normal existence after her parents and hashtag 39's divorce. No amount of effort on her part would have made her blend in with the other kids. The royal family was taken aback when they learned their baby princess had dyslexia during her hospital transfer. She tried very hard to hide it for a while, but in 2005, she came forward to publicly declare her disease, providing assistance to others going through the same thing. She had a hard time accepting the reality before she made the announcement. Because of this, her academic career took a major hit. Beatrice thought that she could control her dyslexia and maybe do better on her GCSEs if she waited a year before taking the tests. Can you tell me what you think? Her performance exceeded all expectations. She proved her commitment to fulfilling the duties bestowed upon her by the royal family by earning a Bachelor of Science degree and an A in drama. In the field of film studies and history, being elected top girl in her senior year is a testament to the exceptional leadership qualities she displayed. She found her voice in the school chorus, where she also obtained a first-rate education. She also developed a passion for the arts while singing in the school chorus. Our family is here to assure you that her dyslexia was unrelated to the shame she suffered as a child. You are free to inquire as to its nature if you so desire. That information will be communicated to you shortly. Everything changed the second she had to accept her mother's identity as her daughter. Sarah Ferguson, her mother, had accomplished a lot in her lifetime. She was very close to Lady Diana in 39, but she was also embroiled in multiple scandals. From her affair, which led to a Christmas photo of her helper licking her toes going viral, to her ineptitude and mishandling of basic funds which put her house in debt, her sphere of influence included it all. Her celebrity had started to spread even before the internet was invented. Her attempt to use her position within the British royal family to bribe a journalist was the most controversial aspect of the whole affair. The public at large despised her just as much as the press. The title Duchess of Pork stuck with her as a result. This was a particularly hurtful insult for Princess Beatrice, because she falsely believed she was the Duchess of Pork and the 39s. She embarked on a strict eating regimen for herself after this incident when she was 8 years old. The issue got considerably more challenging to manage as Beatrice's relationship with her body image became more complex as she grew older. She was the target of widespread criticism for each and every hairstyle decision and fashion choice as she approached puberty, thanks to the public's fixation on her looks and the hashtag 39. Because of this, the already bad situation became much worse. The cherry on top was the mockery she endured in 2011. Rather than being complimented on her impeccable style sense, she was called the pretzel hat and other derogatory terms, on account of the daring fascinator she sported to Prince William's wedding along with hashtag 39. Being the object of public scorn was a terrible prospect for someone as self-conscious about their appearance as she was. You might probably assume that she became more shy and gave up after a while. Definitely not. She focused solely on herself, unconcerned with anyone or anything else. She had no intention of giving up on society's beauty standards. Instead, they decided to just be themselves. Considering her fame, in doing so, she has challenged conventional beauty standards and prompted her listeners to do the same. Just before making a public appearance, Princess Eugenie, her sister, told us a story about how overwhelmed she was with emotion. Despite facing challenges, Beatrice maintained her status as the most beloved member of the royal family. We learn about this moment from Princess Eugenie. Beatrice's immense popularity stems from her genuine care and affection for those around her. Princess Diana, her aunt, was the only member of her royal family to whom she was ever compared. This happened because Beatrice grew into a queen who understood her people and was willing to take up the duties of her position. Like the rest of the group, she felt like a pampered bird trapped in a regal cage. She wasted no time maturing, and her 18th birthday was celebrated with a magnificent mass spectacle at Windsor Castle. She checked that she would act appropriately before beginning the task. When she was working her way up the retail ladder at Selfridges, everything began to fall into place. Then she did some unpaid internship work at the Foreign Office's press office and the hashtag 39 group. She had to go through all this training so that she could learn more about her subjects and carry out her royal duties properly. The remarks she made her intentions to alter royal family customs and hashtag 39 quite plain. Beatrice broke new ground in 2009 when she became the first British royal to star in a full-length film instead of a documentary. She achieved this by seizing the chance presented by her supporting part in The Young Victoria and pushing herself to new heights. Queen Victoria, an ancestor of hers, was the star of a very popular film. What she had planned to be her debut film also turned out to be her farewell, after she was forced to quit her internship at Sony Pictures due to a hacking scandal that occurred in 2014. Her life came to a complete and utter standstill when her acting career ended with hashtag 39. You should know that she is not your average Joe. She possesses the ISN and the hashtag 39. Her very being personifies Beatrice, the beloved princess. She was able to climb the corporate ladder after relocating to New York City in 2015. She quickly discovered that her full-time job required her to juggle duties in both New York and London. At Affinity Business, she oversaw partnerships and strategy in her role as VP, and her professional name was Beatrice York. Just in case you were curious, the leading AI company in the world right now is Partnership and Strategy. On the flip side, you may be asking how she helped the people who meant the most to her. Rest assured, we will promptly provide you with the details. Is the possibility that she has dyslexia still something you're thinking about? This one problem ruined her educational experience when she was younger. Even though her school excelled at teaching dry things, she was completely alone and had no one to turn to for help. Upon hearing the news of her illness, Her loved ones wasted no time in responding, and she wasted no time in beginning to regain her life. The unwavering encouragement she received from her loved ones and educators allowed her to overcome her obstacle and prove that one's physical restrictions shouldn't stand in the way of their dreams. Because of this, she developed her capacity for creative thinking and was able to solve long-standing problems in novel ways. Inspired by her own experience, Beatrice spearheaded a movement for understanding and education with the hashtag 39. In interviews and speeches, she has been open about her struggles with dyslexia, which has helped to lessen the stigma that surrounds the condition. She made it crystal clear in her speech that dyslexia is not a reflection of a lack of strength, but an opportunity for development in areas like creative problem solving, analytical thinking, and new ways of approaching old challenges. She has shown her dedication to helping pupils from low-income families in her personal life through her work with organizations like the Helen Arkell Dyslexia Charity. Her goal when she and hashtag 39 are at home with their kids is to help them embrace who they are and reach their full emotional and intellectual potential. Instead of letting them live their lives as captive birds, she assures them that they will grow into independent people who can reach their maximum potential. In addition, her personality was shaped in part by the many experiences she had as a child. She was caught up in a public battle for her parents' divorce, which included the contentious hashtag 39, even though it had an unusual effect on her. The protective influences of two distinct parenting styles helped her to hide the inner fissures that had developed as a consequence. She inherited her mother's easygoing demeanor from her time spent with her, and she learned the proper royal procedure via her father's attendance at formal ceremonies. Nobody could have foreseen the extent to which she would succeed as a little girl with dyslexia. Meanwhile, juggling the needs of her parents, who were in separate universes, was a constant challenge. This can elicit a negative response from the public. Tom Quinn, a royal novelist, noted that Beatrice often wished for a life that was less remarkable, despite her duty to maintain the dignity of monarchy. They had no idea that Beatrice would discover an ironic strength in her family and the hashtag 39 as she adapted to her new life. The sheer volume of political rhetoric was overwhelming. Right now, we should switch gears and discuss something more engaging. What are your thoughts on this, considering that a lady of the prince's status would have known which men would have been the best fit for her? Wouldn't? Please hold on to your chairs, because the absolutely incredible choice that this girl and hashtag 39 made was the worst decision ever. At the tender age of 17, she had her first love interest, the most awful man alive. At the time, Paolo Liuzzo was 24 years old and the object of her romantic fantasies. Due to their many legal issues, Paolo had a reputation as a controversial figure. People went completely crazy as soon as they began dating in public. They are willing to sacrifice everything to make sure that Paolo and Princess Beatrice can have a loving relationship. I don't understand how most people came to look down on him. At the time, he was a student and he died as a result of a fight. Hence, the defendant was first charged with manslaughter, but the accusations were subsequently lowered to assault and violence. We have provided the most thorough description possible, but we must not lose sight of the fact that he was the worst. What is even more astonishing is that, despite his involvement in the controversy, Beatrice and 39's family, especially Sarah Ferguson, her mother, approved of the relationship. They broke up in 2006 due to the difficulties Liuzzo and 39 encountered as a consequence of his probation and the limitations imposed on his mobility. Thankfully, 2006 was the year this happened. It was believed that Beatrice spent a long period in a condition of sadness and depression, even after they had eventually broken up. Her life was changed irrevocably by her decade-long romance with Dave Clark, a businessman who worked for Virgin Galactic. This short affair was not the major influence. To top it all off, everyone thought Clark would play the part of the Prince Charming to complete her elaborate fairy tale romance. They came to terms with the fact that they wanted a royal marriage that would last forever, but Beatrice suffered another devastating loss in 2016 when she said no to marriage. But there is one thing. Clark had an unfaltering ally in this girl, and she would go to great measures to be with him, even deciding to go to New York City. Their relationship started to exhibit signs of strain over time, though, and she was faced with a difficult decision. Beatrice felt horrible about her inability to be loved as Clark quickly moved on and became engaged to someone else. For her relationship with Clark, this just served to heighten the anguish of the breakup. After that, what transpired? After meeting him, who else did she meet? Is her situation improved now? With the final seconds ticking away, using the hashtag 39, you will receive all of the answers to your questions. She ran straight for her people after suffering a terrible loss. She empowered herself by choosing to channel her suffering into strength, and she fulfilled her royal duties with extraordinary fervor. She decided to do her part in bringing attention to these issues by entering the humanitarian sector and advocating for causes in which she believed. After overcoming the emotional scars from her background, she found solace in her strong commitment to helping others, which in turn helped her heal mentally and physically. She proved once again that your unique experiences are the product of the traumas you've survived. Their mere existence will simply fan the flames of your passion, remarkably on the cusp of achieving enchantment. She was fortunate to meet Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi at the exact moment she started to doubt love as her ultimate fate. He became an integral part of her life as a real estate tycoon with ties to the Italian nobility. He made her feel bad about the times she cursed love when she was alone. They started dating in 2018, and their romance quickly gained attention online. After Beatrice and Edoardo attended a public function together in March of 2019, they became the center of attention in the media. This was done to signal to the public that their relationship had taken a more serious turn. They announced their engagement later that year while on a romantic vacation in Italy, creating the illusion that they were madly in love. She had never needed anything more than to be treated with dignity and respect by someone who accepted her for who she was. Edoardo excelled in each and every one of these areas. The unexpected emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic in May of 2020 was a minor setback when they had originally intended to tie the knot. Bravely, Beatrice chose a private wedding at Windsor in July of 2020 for hashtag 39's Royal Saints, despite this setback. Even if Lady Sarah and hashtag 39's wedding was already very impersonal, this one was far more so. They decided on a small wedding because she was juggling other issues in her life at the same time. Princess Elizabeth's father, Prince Andrew, was a divisive figure in that era. Regardless, that kind of conduct has no place in a royal family. One of the many thoughtful details that made the wedding seem like any other family reunion was the bride's choice of attire. A restored gown that the Queen had lent her for the big day. She adorned herself even more with the Queen Mary, a symbol of perpetuity, as an extra flourish.